So top bosses, have you ever installed solar power either in your property or in your home? And if you are a technician, have you ever done a full system installation? So what are the steps for you to own your solar power? What do you need to consider? Let us discuss about that. So if you are a homeowner, so this one is for homeowners, what are some of the factors that you need to consider when it comes to owning solar power? First of all, we need an audit on your wiring. Audit your wiring. The reason why this is important is because if your wiring is working perfectly, it means that it will have less errors, and this will definitely mean that your solar power will not strain as it supplies power to your home. Also, it reduces the wear and tear of your solar panels, your inverter, as well as your battery. If the wiring is perfectly done, if it is working properly, it means that the solar power that you have will have an easier time powering your appliances, powering your needs, daily needs, because the efficiency is definitely high. So the wiring has to be working perfectly. And if you are in diaspora looking forward to invest in Kenya and you have not made the right decision when it comes, you have not yet made the decision on where to have your land, factors such as the availability of power should not limit you, especially if you are looking to buy land in your place that is your preference. Do not be afraid of buying that land if power is the only thing that is limiting you, because you are able to go solar and power all your needs with your own power station or generation, which is solar. For homeowners, also another thing that you need to consider is the load. So the load encompasses your home appliances. So you need to understand your home appliances in terms of the power rate, or so this is the power rate, or in terms of watts, be it a microwave, how many times are they in use? So you need to factor in that. Another thing is definitely, so let's say you have factored in the appliances and the rate of the appliances and the number of time that they are in use. That will definitely help us to calculate the number of panels to be used. And first, before panels, we also need to factor in, very important, is the inverter size. Inverter size. So that will definitely help us to know the number of panels as well as the number of hours that the systems or the appliances are in operation matters a lot, isn't it? So we need to be very, very much considerate of that. So we also need to talk about another important thing which matters a lot, and definitely it is the size or the power rate that or the type of appliances. So you find that appliances that have or produce motion, produce heat, we need to consider them. Motion, these are definitely motors. So the question is, are these motors three-phase or are they single-phase? Another thing, definitely if they produce heat, we are referring to heaters. You find that for you to size a system, you need to consider, like let's say a hotel. If in a hotel, there is cooking that is going on or heating, so basically in the kitchen. Another thing is definitely a swimming pool. Is the swimming pool heated? And of course, there are pumps that are involved in there. It means that we need to also factor in motion producing appliances or loads. So that is where pumps come in. And even you find that in those setups, we also need cookers. So especially as we were talking about the kitchen or a restaurant or a hotel where we have cookers right there. We have the kitchen. A lot of these are mega loads. So why am I talking about that? Because that definitely dictates the size, the type of the type of your inverter. Not every inverter, regardless of the size, should be considered when we talk about these sizing, because if an inverter is either a low frequency or a high frequency, so from your experience as a technician, for heaters, for motion producing loads, is it necessary to use a low frequency inverter or a high frequency inverter? Which is the most suitable inverter to use for loads that produce heat as well as produce motion? Top boss in the comment section, let me know. Which is the most suitable inverter for that? Right. Is it a low frequency inverter or is it a high frequency inverter? Let me know in the comment section. All right. Now we also have to factor in people who are in the industry. So if you're in the industry or basically business, so let us just write business here. So you find that if you have a large scale industry, the first question is the time. Number two, peak loads or peak load time. Why is that important? So that we can know when is the appropriate time in a day when the load is actually fully used. All right, so that we can know if, for instance, it is during the day, we definitely need to consider more solar panels so that the sun that is harnessed will go directly to support this load, so that during the day, if that is when there is a peak load connection, we need to have more solar panels, and we also need to consider the inverter type as well as the inverter size, right? The type of the inverter as well as the size of the inverter. So if for this case we have a very big load, the solar panels through the inverter are able to directly power the loads. And definitely if we are talking about the load which definitely draws a lot of current, it means that this inverter has to support that load, and especially during the day. Now, if it is during the night, we now shift our attention to the battery, because at night we don't have the solar or the sun. Let me just, so that is what we definitely refer to as so let's say it is at night or cloud, there is cloud cover or days of autonomy where we go with, like, let's say 2 days in a week where we don't expect to have much cloud cover, I mean much sun. So for this, the sun is not the sunshine is not sufficient on the solar panels, because the sun is always there. It is affected, the sunshine is the one that is affected by the clouds. So it means that if at night we still need to run the machines, the motors for the industries for production purposes, we definitely must shift our attention to the battery. What is the size of the battery? All right. Is the battery able to store enough power when the solar panels are charging it? That is one thing that we need to really focus on. Okay. Another thing, the cloud cover, so that during the day, if the cloud cover is too much, it means that it will affect the battery charging potential, not potential. It will affect the charge on the battery. If let's say by evening we have 30% remaining on the battery capacity, it means that it will affect the performance, especially if that battery is used or relied upon during the night production time. So we cannot fully rely on the battery to produce power, right? So what we need to do is to ensure that the solar panels or the size of the panels is increased, as well as the size and the number of panels. So that means the quantity and the quality of power has to be stepped up, so that with the little amount of sunlight that is available, the battery, number one, has to be filled to capacity, so that by evening the battery is at 100%. And then the other question will be, will this 100% or the capacity of the battery be able to sustain the night shift operation all the way until morning before sunrise? And so for this case here, I'm definitely, as you may know, considering what we refer to as an off-grid setup for the industries, or for heavy commercial, off-grid for heavy commercial. And so you find that the initial cost for this solar installation is way expensive, but in the long run, it will save on a lot. Now, we know about tariffs when it comes to commercial setup. People who are in commercial setting, their tariff is very, very high compared to domestic setup. So you find that if you are paying for electricity, the cost of a unit in commercial setup is not the same as domestic. So there is a need for you to go solar, because it will save on a lot if you are an industry player. So my top boss, just to recap what we've been talking about today, is that homeowners are able to save on a lot of power bills, just like we were discussing. And the first step for a homeowner before considering solar power is to definitely audit their wiring. If there are any loopholes or issues with the wiring, fix that, so that your solar power will definitely not disappoint you. Now, when it comes to setting up the solar power, the one consideration that we do ask is the load. What is the size of the load that is connected right there? So we need to ensure that we know the appliances that will be connected, number one. Number two, we need to know what are the power consumption, or the power rates, or the wattage in short. If it is a refrigerator, if it is an iron box, is it 1 kilowatt? Is it 1.2 kilowatt? All of that, we need to work out the total consumption of these appliances. Number two, hours in operation of those appliances, so that we can estimate the load consumption or the amount of power consumption in that home. We can also understand what the customer pays in terms of electricity tokens. That will help us to calculate backwards to know from the amount that they are paying in terms of token consumption per month, and then work out the correct system that will be able to support that home or that house. And it is important for you to understand this. Also, if you are prospecting that in future you'll be able to upgrade your system, or you will have more power needs. You need to communicate that with the electrician or the technician that is calculating the solar power that you need. At Top Heights Electricals and Electricians, we help our clients, whether you are in diaspora in a different country, we help you come up with the correct size so that you don't make any mistake. And we even give you a quotation, and we go into detail so that your technician, regardless of where you are, will be able to implement. We will also be in contact with your technician to ensure that this system is implemented, of course at a fee that we charge if we are not the ones that are executing the project for you. But if we are the ones that are executing the project, we will help you all the way until we arrive at a system that will help you. Now, an inverter type and an inverter size is very important so that you are able to understand which is the suitable inverter to support the needs that you have. It doesn't matter whether you have heaters, cookers, motion producing appliances such as motors. Even if you have a swimming pool which is heated, solar power is able to supply that. Shifting gears to people who are in the heavy commercial or the industry, if you have a business that definitely runs 24/7, can solar power support that system? The answer is yes. So what we also consider is the time, right? Now, here we consider the load that you have. The time is definitely tied to the operation. Do you have heavy operation during the day, or is it during the night, or both? Now, we will consider the number of panels, especially when it comes to during the day. If your operations are limited to daytime, we definitely have to step up the solar panels that you require so that we maximize on the sunshine that is harnessed by the solar panel so that it is able to supply power to all the loads. Another important thing is the inverter type as well as the inverter size. We normally talk about high frequency, low frequency inverters, especially for industry players who produce a lot of heavy motion or movement in the production chain. So that is very important. And for us here at Top Heights and Electricals and Solar, we assist our clients even in the commercial setup or in the industry or manufacturing setup to come up with the correct solar power system that will be able to help them achieve maximum profits even when it is at peak. That is peak load. We definitely come up with a system that will help you. So we factor in the battery size. Even if it is at night, the battery is able to assist you continue with the production. So let's say during the day you are relying on solar. The solar panels are able to power your manufacturing or production needs and at the same time charge your battery to 100%. So when it is in the evening or at night, the battery starts at 100%, is able to power the needs during the night, and even in the morning, the battery is not emptied completely. Maybe it is at 30% or even 50%, and during the morning or the sunrise, now the sun is able to peak again. We also calculate what we refer to as days of autonomy. We give you an allowance, assuming that we give an allowance of 2 days of total cloud cover. Will that system continue to power your needs on an off-grid setting? If the answer is yes, it means that you will save on 100% when it comes to power bills. So we don't want you to pay for any bills if you decide to go off-grid solar. Another important thing for you to note, my top boss, is that at Top Heights Electricals and Electricians, we have partners in the commercial, we have partners in the banking industry. So we have partnered with the banks. We have also partnered with other financial institutions such as SACCOs to ensure that we lend. And we also have another agreement with banks that are able to lease this system for you, especially if you are in the commercial or production setting, so that they lease the solar power so that you are able to gauge, is this worth it? If you're not able to continue or you want to upgrade the system, the banks will repossess the system and allow you to upgrade. All right. And even after paying, you decide that you want to fully own the system, there is a fee that you pay and you own the full set of this solar power so that you are able to continue using it. I will definitely appreciate you giving it a thumbs up, and if you have any question that you need to ask, let me know in the comment section. And also remember the question that I already asked, which is right here. If, for instance, you have a 6 kilowatt inverter and you have a 10 kilowatt hour battery, what are the number of panels that you require? What is the specs of those panels, my top boss? And this, we are discussing about a setting, a domestic setting or a family setting where we have the normal home appliances. Let me also know in the comment section and I will appreciate that. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and do so and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the episodes that are coming up. My name is John Gatehi and this is Topites Electricals and Solar. Goodbye for now.